Okay, hello, how you doing? This I'm trying to do a little something on Paul Laurence Dunbar. I've recited his poem so many times, Liza, Liza, in the morning. That's the only thing that I knew about him. Because everybody says, do that poem, Betty. So I did the poem, but I didn't know anything about the man. So I happened to go into my library and look a little bit up about him. So I will tell you a little bit about him, and then I will. He wrote like for people in his time age, because in the 1900s, the late 1800s, early 1900s, people are from slavery or slave. They spoke one way in dialect. And then the educated white people, they spoke another way. They spoke proper English, or Midwestern, as they call it. So I would like to recite two poems that he did. He was such a brilliant person. He went to Howard University, and he was born June 17th, 1892, in Dayton, Ohio, to Joshua and Matilda Murphy. And he went to Howard University. He was a African American poet to gain national recognition. He was internationally acclaimed for his dialect verse in collections such as Majors and Minors in 1895 and Lyrics of the Lowly Life, 1890. He also used Midwestern original dialect by James Whitcomb Riley. He established international reputation. He wrote the first musical comedy that it was called D-A-D-A-M Dab Money D-A-B-O-M-Y 1903, which played in New York extensively for 4 years, and then it traveled to Europe. He wrote conversational English and other poetry and novels. He was the first African American to write a story about white people, all white people. He became friends with Booker T. Washington, the Wrights brother, Frederick Douglass, and James L. Colbert. Well, it's a lot of more things I could say about him, but I'm going to do this. He wrote Why We Wear the Mask. Why We Wear the Mask. Maya Angelou wrote this poem called I Know Why the Caged Birds Sing. And it was such a controversial thing, because it said that they approved it for the school system, but then they changed their mind because they said it was too controversial and made white people hate black people. But that's not what it was intended for. So they put it in like a library, a field where do not cross, do not integrate, they put like a fence around the book. You were not allowed to get it in the library. And if you did, you would have to sign a paper saying whether you were a student or you were a teacher. If you was a teacher, you could get it. If you was a student, you could not get it. But anyway, we know Maya Angelou is very controversial. Now, this one that Paul Laurence Dunbar wrote is called Why We Wear the Mask. We wear the mask because people are hiding their true feelings and emotions from everyone. Everyone and emotions from everyone behind a mask. In the poem, he refers to cheerful facial expressions that people think is necessary so that others don't see how they truly feel, the grin, the lie. We wear the mask that grins and lies. It hides our cheeks and shades our eyes. This debt we paid to human guile. With torn and bleeding hearts we smile, and mouth with my red subtitles. Why should the world be overwise in converting all our tears and sighs, in counting all our tears and sighs? May let them only see us while we wear the mask. We smile, but, oh great Christ, our cries to thee from tortured souls arise. We sing, but oh, the day is bow beneath our feet and long the mile. But let the world dream otherwise. We wear the mask. That was one of the poems that he wrote. That was for the Midwestern people. The language was for the Midwestern people. A lot of times, if you go to school, and you're learning how to speak. They say if you take they give you a Midwestern speech because they think if you learn how to speak Midwestern, like the Midwestern, people can hear you and understand you. You know, because a lot of languages. You can talk to a lot of people, but they are talking English, but you don't know what they're saying because it's not clear what they're saying. But if you study Midwestern speech, they said it's clear. That's why the news people reporting the news, they're speaking. A lot of time they are reading from something that's behind the speaker, behind the camera, but they're reading. But you don't even know what nationality these people are because you're not looking at the camera. But if you're looking at the TV, you could see who they are, what nationality they are, what culture. But if you're not looking, they all sound the same because they had this education in English, but from the Midwest. Now, this is a poem that he wrote that I recited many times. It's called In the Morning, in the Morning, in the Morning. It was about the lady. She was this during slavery, right out of slavery, in the early 1900s. And she had like a little hut. She was a decent woman, hardworking woman. And, she was trying to go to work, but she wanted to get her son up out of bed so he could start his day also to get him started. She didn't want him sleeping all day, and he's capable of sleeping all day. Those kind of people, they just don't want nothing but just sleep and just do nothing with themselves. Okay. So she said, Lazarus, bless the Lord. Don't you know the day's in broad? Thinks I'm going to let you sleep? Why, I make your board and keep. That's a pretty how do you do. Don't you hear me? Lazarus, you. Bet if I come across this floor, you won't find no time to snow. Daylight's all is shining in. Why's you sleep? Why's it's a sin. Ain't the candlelight enough? Burning out without a snuff? No, you go to morning through. Burning out the daylight too. Oh, Lazarus, don't you hear me when I call? No use you turn into that wall, because I could hear that mattress squeak. Don't you hear me when I speak? This here clock done struck off 6. Carolina, bring me that air stick. Boy, boy, Carolina, bring me that air stick. You down, sir, you down. Don't you dare to frown. Always frowning, I'm trying to get you out of bed. You're always frowning and going on. Now you march yourself and wash your face. And don't you splatter all over the place. Because I got something else to do besides clean up after you. Then you take that comb and fix your head. It look just like a feather bed. Look here, boy. I let you see. You shouldn't roll your eyes at me. Oh, Carolina, bring me that strap. Boy, I'll whip you till you drop. Now you done felt yourself too strong, and you surely got me wrong. Oh boy, you got me wrong. Sit down at that table there. Just you whimper, if you dare. Every morning on this place seem like I must lose my grace. Now you fold your hands and bow your head, and you wait until the blessing said. Lord, have mercy on our souls. Don't you dare to touch them rolls. Bless this food we going to eat. You sit still. I see your feet. Don't you try that trick again. Lord, give us peace and joy. Amen. Well, that's one of the poem he was saying it in the dialect of the people at that time. But he was highly educated, but he couldn't really get a job he was qualified for because he was black. And so a lot of times he got a job working he was smart and everybody knew that he was smart. He got a job for working the elevator operator. He was an elevator operator, and he started selling a lot of his books and things that he wrote because people knew him. And he says, tell us a poem, tell us a story. And he would. And so he sold a lot like that, but still that wasn't enough to sustain him. And then when he caught TB, he died at early. Well, he was 33 years old when he died. But they didn't have a cure for TB at that time, but he did leave us a lot of gifts. I should go to the library and read more because, what he had a lot to say. And just think, back then, black people were not educated, but he was real smart. He was real smart. As a matter of fact, his mother, when she got out of slavery, was freed from Kentucky. She started learning how to read and write, and she taught it to her son, too, at a very early age. She wanted to make sure that he go a little bit further than she did, and he did to make her proud, you know. So all I say is, if you get a chance, you go to the library, you read something about him. Maybe you will go take a little bit further than I did. But there's a lot of black people out there that contribute so much, but we don't know what they contribute. We don't know all the things that they contribute. Or if they had lived and we had known more about them, they were in the history books and our school books, then we would have more of appreciation for them. But since it wasn't taught to us, we have to find out for ourselves because there's a lot of great people out there. Color don't make you great. You make yourself great. Because we all came from the universe and we all came with gifts inside of us. We just have to find those gifts and use them.